Hello, welcome to my channel, or welcome back. I hope you're all doing well today. Today I'm going to be doing a little bit of a love reading, but I'm not really sure what energy is in the air today. Let's pull a few cards from this deck that I've illustrated and find out. Okay, we have mouse. Okay, someone's a little bit timid today, or maybe someone's setting a trap. All right, we have a candle. Ooh, okay, I feel like something is burning through the night. There could be someone staying up all night, or there could be someone who is casting some sort of spell that might be taking place at night. Mirror. Okay, so I feel like you are engaged in a dynamic, or you will be engaged in a dynamic in which both parties mirror each other very strongly, in the sense that there are traits within one another that can only be recognized when you come face to face with the other. And it's this feeling of being able to perceive more about yourself when you look at yourself through the eyes of another person, and not just through some imagined feeling of looking from a different perspective, of like trying to put yourself in their shoes, but actually looking through their eyes in the sense of getting so close up to them that you're seeing their eyes directly. All right, so we have the Six of Wands. Okay, so I feel like there is the sense of being a leader, of being at the front of the pack. There's someone who is moving ahead right now. And I feel like this could be in your energy, where I feel like you've really stepped up recently and it's made you extraordinarily desirable. So I feel like there's someone who is maybe a little bit timid in approaching you. And I feel like you are really proving that you are a catch, essentially. And I feel like, with a candle, I feel like this person has been probably staying up through the night thinking about you, or, especially, I'm getting the sense that at night they think about you quite a lot. All right, so we've got the Emperor coming out here. And this again speaks to this energy of being a great leader, of being really empowered. I feel like you recently stepped up to your throne, where I think maybe when the dynamic with this person started, you weren't seated on the throne. You maybe had placed yourself at a lower tier than the average person in the world, or even this other person, where it was almost the sense of trying to win them over. So like the Candle card, maybe you were trying to cast a love spell, whether you were doing actual spells or simply this imagined feeling of wanting to have someone under your spell. And I feel like this could have actually been detrimental to the dynamic, because then it lowered your value, not just in the eyes of the world, but in the eyes of yourself. And this then caused you to take actions which you might not even be fully conscious of how these actions resulted in this, but it could have caused some sort of dynamic where you were not fully making yourself a valued option in this dynamic. And so this could have led to some feelings of rejection. But now I feel like you're almost intimidatingly huge. You're big, you're on top of the world, and now this person is scared of you. And maybe they almost feel like it's a bit of a trap, like too good to be true is the vibe that I'm getting. Okay, so we have the Five of Cups here. So this is someone who's crying over spilt milk. This is someone who is ruminating on the past instead of looking at the cup still standing behind them. And this is something I'm really getting in your energy. Like, I feel like if there is someone who you're thinking about right now, you might have spent a lot of time ruminating about past events or times you were together. And this has caused you to neglect the present moment. And the present moment is the moment in which you can step up to the throne. So it's about not grieving the past, but understanding that there is infinite potential in every moment to step up to the throne and become this catch that is the most desirable thing on the planet. All right, we have the Page of Swords coming through. So I feel like this is in this other person's energy. I feel like they are maybe a little caught up in their thoughts, and maybe you're a little bit enthusiastic, and maybe they really caused you to have some thoughts that made you like them, or made you really imagine the future of what this dynamic could be. And I feel like it was coming from this place of being able to formulate something that could be really charming. Like, I think they were kind of a bit of a silver tongue, a bit of a smooth talker is the sense that I'm getting. To where maybe you almost had this feeling of like too good to be true, except I feel like you're a little bit trusting, so I feel like you accepted it as truth. When in reality it was something formulated in the realm of fantasy rather than anything real. All right, we have the Knight of Cups. Okay, and I feel like this is something that's in your energy. I feel like you are bringing something forward coming from this really strong intuitive and emotional sense, where I feel like this person, yeah, like they were more caught up in their thoughts and maybe very immature thoughts, fantasies that really had no place in reality. And I feel like you maybe delivered them some sort of cold, hard truth about how the world really is, or how their emotions have some sort of play in the situation. Like maybe they weren't aware of how their emotions were shaping their situation when it comes to romance, either with you or with other people. And I feel like you made it extraordinarily clear to them exactly why they acted the way that they did. And I think you used your really strong sense of intuition in this matter. And I think that this is something that maybe established you on this kind of emperor throne of like you almost saw right through them, and it caused this person to become quite timid, of being really intimidated by the fact that you almost seem to know more about them than they know about themselves. And like I mentioned with this mirror card, when you have this dynamic that is really this deep connection to another person, you can both see more about each other than you would even know about yourselves. All right, we have the Eight of Pentacles coming out. And this is this feeling of very hard, diligent work. So the sense I'm getting is you've been working on yourself a lot recently. You've really been building yourself up through very metered and consistent effort. I feel like you're not someone who is just trying to sprint and get to some destination, but I think you understand that the constant, careful attention that you put into your work in the present moment, in the right now, is what is most essential to the development of getting into this Emperor energy, or the development of this sort of close, harmonious relationship. So I feel like you're someone who's really been putting the work in, and it's this feeling of every day you're stacking things up, and you're becoming more whole in yourself as you do this, and reaching up towards the heavens. You're almost building a ladder up, although maybe that's not the best parable. All right, we have the Temperance card. Okay, so I feel like you are someone who understands the value of balance, of understanding that you cannot go too far in either the direction of asceticism or of hedonism. Of you need to be balanced between the two, and the two worlds of the conscious world and the unconscious world. And I feel like this is something that you have shown this person, where I feel like they could have been leaning too far in one direction, where maybe they were more concerned with worldly things, and maybe when you met, you were maybe more concerned with spiritual things, and maybe it's almost like this dynamic could have altered a shift in both of you, where you both became closer to this feeling of balance, or maybe you temper each other's energies in a way where one of you might be more energetic and the other one might be more subdued. And in this sense, when you come together, you balance each other out in a way. And I also feel like there is a sense of wanting to choose the outcome of the situation, or wanting to know it in advance, or wanting to decide it. But I feel like you're starting to understand that this is almost beyond your control, in a sense. And I think that this is when you've gotten to this point of giving up entirely, when you really placed this control over the dynamic in the hands of something higher than yourself, and understanding that no amount of striving or actions that you could take would actually change anything, is when you find a sense of balance within yourself that allows you to really be present in the moment. And it's this feeling of the moment between past and future, these infinite expanses that stretch out either way, and this infinite point that seems to be always present. All right, we got the Hanged Man. Oh my, interesting. All right, so I feel like, again, you are kind of suspended between these two worlds, where I feel like this connection might have caused something to shift in you, where you almost understand that there was nothing in the world for you, in a sense, where I think your ego was punished so brutally in the situation that it maybe caused something in you to snap. And this card has some similarities to Christ's crucifixion, which could be something that you might relate to, in the sense of almost this sacrificing of the ego, and that maybe this whole dynamic with this person was a process, almost a sort of ritual in which the ego was hanged and brought to death, which then follows into the Temperance card, of being able to be between the worlds, to exist between them naturally, right? Like the Hanged Man is suspended between the heavens and the earth, but in this very uncomfortable, restricted position, almost feeling as if he got to choose one. Whereas the Temperance card is this angelic figure who is perfectly existing in both worlds, with one foot in the water and one foot on land. And it's almost this feeling of being suspended in both cards. Is the Hanged Man is physically suspended, so maybe there was some feeling of suspense in your life in the dynamic where you thought, like, what is going to happen next? But I think now you're getting more into the sense of suspense, as in the present moment holds so much suspense, like it's so potent for anything to happen, and when you're in the state, that is when miracles happen. All right, we have the Five of Swords. Okay, so I feel like, maybe there was some sense of, like, kind of like a player energy, because again, we're getting the swords, which kind of corresponded to your person's energy in the Page of Swords, where I feel like maybe there was this feeling like they outsmarted you, or they got the best of you, and you just lay down your sword and just gave up entirely, and it's almost like maybe in some sense you feel like they came out on top in the situation, and now you're suffering. But I feel like it's almost, you need to understand that you both need to lay down the swords in a sense, where when you're imagining this person to be holding all the power, you're essentially giving them that power. But when you understand that you both have laid down the swords of ego, this is then when you could actually exist simultaneously, where as long as you're thinking that they have got something over you, or that they're better than you, or that you're better than them, this is still holding the ego's intention. When in reality, on the ego level, you don't have to worry about that. That's not relevant to what you're actually trying to achieve through this, or what is actually possible for you to achieve. Because, like I mentioned, with this feeling of confusion, like maybe you thought that there was something you had to do, that there was something you could say that would make the situation work out for you. But in reality, I think you're starting to understand that it is the laying down of the sword, the sacrificing of the ego, that will lead to any sort of feeling of harmony with the world. All right, so we have the Knight of Wands and the Two of Cups coming out. And of course, the Two of Cups, this is the card of the divine union between masculine and feminine. It's these two parties coming together, and the masculine figure reaches out and touches the feminine. And then from within is I can't pronounce it, the staff with the swords. There's the snakes coming out. I need to look up a YouTube video how to pronounce. And then we have the Knight of Wands here, which is this feeling of suspense. So like I mentioned, I think there was kind of some suspense imminent, where you really had this prediction about what the divine union between masculine and feminine would be, and you were kind of waiting for it to happen. And I feel like there was this feeling of wanting this connection to work out so that you could experience it, and this feeling like like this relationship was the only way that you could experience it. But I feel like when you sacrificed your ego and crucified it, essentially, and laid down your sword, this is when you realize that this balance lies in every moment. Like I mentioned, with this infinite moment and this feeling of temperance, the balancing of these energies is something that takes place within you, not within the world. And this is where maybe your relationship was almost a symbolic representation of the process that needed to take place within you, that maybe illuminated certain things about the process that made it easier to achieve or to flow correctly, where I feel like maybe you didn't really have the strongest understanding of the feminine and masculine energies within you. But I think when you recognized your counterpart in the world, who stood in as a symbol for most likely the masculine energy, and maybe this person, they reached out and touched you, and in this moment of touch, you understood within yourself how to see these two energies and how to balance them, and to create less division within yourself of this feeling of like, okay, I am the divine feminine chasing a divine masculine. If you watch a lot of tarot readings, you're probably familiar with that. But it's understanding that you actually have both within yourself. And like I mentioned, this whole situation was only something to illuminate that fact. All right. We have the Sun, okay, and this is the outcome of this whole process, is that you were born again as a child. And this is, of course, you can see the child's genitalia is covered. I'm not trying to be creepy about this, but it is a hermaphroditic child, you might say, of this innocence is neither masculine or feminine, or you could say that it is both. So it is this newfound innocence and wonder and light that is born from the divine union of masculine and feminine, literally born, because it's a baby. But at the same time, it is your essence. It is this initial essence that existed within you for as long as your essential consciousness has existed, but it's something that had been covered up by the games of the ego. And I see that this relationship is almost a test for you, or a challenge, or a trial, in which you were meant to learn this lesson or reach this understanding that you are not your ego, and to really have a thorough understanding of this, so that you can actually be fully reborn and see the world through a new light and exist in this fully balanced energy. All right, well, as a love reading, I'll give you some of what you're looking for. Let's figure out what your person is thinking about you right now. Okay, the Page of Cups. Okay, so this is very similar to the Knight of Cups, where I mentioned that you had delivered some sort of emotional or intuitive message to this person, where the Page of Cups is this feeling of a message being delivered, and the fish, something fresh and lively. I feel like maybe there was almost this stagnant energy, but I feel like maybe you have either recently delivered a message to this person, and this does not even have to be like you actually reached out and messaged them. It's more like there's something about you or about your situation, your dynamic, that has caused some shift in this person, where they had some sort of realization, like they got the message, is what I'm getting. All right, and then we have the Three of Wands. Okay, so this is a solitary figure who is in contemplation, looking out at a desert expanse, right? And we can contrast this, where I placed you in the Suit of Cups, which is representing the water, and this person is thinking about you from this place of being in the desert. It's almost like they're going through a bit of a drought, where it's like they really miss you, I think. I think they really want some of that intuitive flowing energy in their life. They want these messages to be delivered to them, and I think that they want, a little bit of your juice is what I'm getting. And I feel like they're someone who feels very lonely, and this could be like they might still be surrounded by other people and yet still feel lonely, because I feel like with this the feeling of mirroring that came up earlier, I think that you are the best possible mirror that they have ever encountered, where they actually feel fully seen, fully witnessed, and fully reflected in you, whereas even if they spend time around other people, they're still feeling somewhat disconnected, not feeling fully seen. Okay, let's draw one more card about this, what this person is thinking about you. Okay, they have the Two of Pentacles coming out here. And this is this feeling of making a choice, or having infinite choices, or like a false choice in some ways, because both the choices are connected in some way. So I get the sense that this person might have considered you an option in the past, and maybe it was because they felt like all possible options were somewhat equivalent in a way, or that they had to go through every possible option before they could pick one person to be with. But I feel like there is a sense of understanding that there is an infinite depth to be plumbed in your connection, where this person could be engaged or involved with hundreds of people and still not reach the depth that could exist with just being involved with you. And I think that this is something they're starting to realize now, is that you provide an entirely different experience to anyone else in the world that they have ever interacted with. All right, let's draw a few cards to wrap this up on your end of the reading. Let's see what maybe you're feeling, or the instruction that Spirit is giving you today. All right, we have the Four of Pentacles. Okay, this is protect your peace, protect your energy. This is don't be giving stuff away for free. Do not be putting yourself out there like that and giving away your energy so freely. So this is maybe if you've had some feelings of oversharing or of wanting to reach out to this person. I think this card is really advising you to temper that a little bit and understand that because you are the Emperor on the throne and you have this power is meant to be directed at these emperor-like tasks, right? It's not meant to be flirting around in the realm of ego. It's meant to be directed to this higher work that you were meant to be doing right now. All right, the Ace of Pentacles, another Pentacle card coming out. And I feel like this is like, it's like in every moment that you are doing this work, you are delivering a new message. And this could be a message that you are speaking to this other person, or more likely a message that you are reinforcing in yourself, that this is the essential work and that you are committed to doing it. And the more that you prove this to yourself, the more the ego falls away, to the point where it almost becomes difficult for you to identify with the ego. And this is the message that's being delivered in every moment that you're doing this work, is reminding you that you are not this ego being who sees another ego being in the world and wants to have them. You are all of it. All right, let's draw another card. Okay, we have the Magician. Okay, so the Spirit is telling you that you have all the power right now. You have everything you need to be doing this essential work. Maybe it was this previous feeling of like you needed this other person in your life to be doing this essential work. But in fact, this card is demonstrating that you have all the tools at your disposal. And when you lose this false ego identification, you realize that there's nothing that anyone in the world has that you need. You already have it all. You already have all the power. And again, with the Magician, this is the pointing up to the heavens and pointing down to the earth as well. So it's this feeling of existing between both worlds and being the master of both of them. So I feel like you're someone who has very much mastered this balance, and you can see the infinity sign above the Magician's head as well. It's like I mentioned, you have the infinite depths within you so that you do not need any other person in this world to be able to access them, or there's this feeling that you could provide some sort of infinite knowledge in every moment to yourself and others that you're engaged with. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this reading or got some value out of it. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.